So if you're looking for something different to farm and farming similar to 25, you might want to stick around and check this out. This is peat farming, or maybe you tried it and had some issues. I'm going to show you how to do it here in just a few minutes, so stick around. All right, let me show you on the menu real quick of equipment. What you're going to do is go down. The easiest thing is to go over here to peat equipment, and it shows you what you need right here. Okay, may or may not need that flatbed trailer. Okay, notice we have this. That's the harvester. We have this. That's kind of like a windrower. And we have this, which is kind of like a tedder. It's a dryer. We do not have this. That's the miller. So if you're playing on a map that has peat, and this is Sunshine Forest, by the way, if you're playing on that and you don't see this, that's why you can't figure it out. So what we're going to do is purchase that. It's $30,500, and we're going to take it back to the farm. All right, we are back with our miller on our peat field. It's attached to the back of my tractor. So what I'm going to do, like you do any other piece of equipment like that to use it, I'm going to lower it and I'm going to turn it on. Okay, and here we go. The top left help buttons there will show you what to hit to do that. Once it's going, we are stirring up our peat. So you can view the peat harvest. There's some negatives. I'm doing this myself. The AIs will not work. Okay, some people like that, some don't. On the plus side, you always have peat here to harvest, and there's no other expenses. You don't have to plant or anything. It's just the expense of you harvesting it, and you harvest it kind of like making hay. Okay, I'm going to cut it with this. I'm going to use a dryer, which is kind of like a tedder. And I'm going to use a collector, which is kind of like a windrower, put it in rows, and I'm going to collect it with the harvester, which is kind of like a forage wagon in a way. That's how you do it. So we're going to do those steps, show you those here in just a few minutes. All right, now I've hooked up my Lizard peat dryer as part of the peat equipment pack. If you get a map that has peat, it's going to have this pack in there. But like this map, Sunshine Forest did not come with the miller, so we had to, that's why you couldn't figure it out. So then I'm going to lower this once I get it spread out, turn it on, and I'm going to go through here and dry it just like using a tedder, like you would on freshly cut grass. It spreads the peat out to dry it, so I can then put it in rows, and then I can collect it. So there you go. Pretty neat process. We're also going to find out how much money we're going to get from this. So stand by. Okay, I've got it all dried, spread out and dried. Now I've got my peat ridger attached to the front of my tractor with the weight on the back. Be sure you have the item in the front of your tractor selected. Looking at the control group there. So I'm going to lower this. I'm going to turn it on. Head that way, and it's going to put it in little rows, just like a windrower does for hay. So remember, I cut it with the miller, I dried it with the dryer, kind of like a tedder. Now I'm putting it in rows with the ridger, kind of like a windrower. Okay, and we'll be on to the next step here shortly. All right, so we use the miller to cut our peat, to scrape it off. We use the dryer to dry it, and we use the ridger to put it in these little rows. Now I have the JMK40, and it's a harvester, kind of like a forage wagon. It's going to pick it up off the ground. So I'm going to lower the pickup, turn it on. And once again, the AI will not do this equipment, so that's a drawback if you like to have the AIs do a lot of work. You may not like this. However, if you like to drive your own stuff, this is kind of fun to do, and it's something different besides the regular farming. And your peat fields there, it's just a continuous source of money because you never have to plan or anything. So, you know, you just, as long as you do this, other than your fuel and maintenance on the equipment, everything is profit. We're going to see how much profit we get here in just a minute when I'm done collecting all this. This is just one row, and we have a lot of peat. We have 2 fields of this, so this is potentially a lot of money you could earn here. And I left a little bit on the side. I'm not getting that to the right there. But we'll be back here with the results, how much we get from this. We're already at, well, 5-6% full. So there you go. It's coming along. All right, we finished collecting all of our peat. You can see there it's gone. It's now in the holder here. And we got 32,672 liters. And our apparatus here is about 72% full. It holds 45,000. Okay, you got a couple of options here. Let me show you on the menu. Okay, the prices for peat right now, we're at the low part of the season, $370 for 1,000 liters. So that's not very much. It does peak out at $553, but anywhere it looks like around November, December, January, February is a good time to sell it. Okay, it doesn't change much there, but it's at the lowest time now. So ideally, if you're trying to make the most money, you could set up on your farm some bunker silos and store this there. And this particular map, Sunshine Forest on Farming Simulator 25, comes with a telehandler and a bucket. And it's a lot of work. It's 5,000 liters a bucket. You got to scoop that up and put it in a truck, and then go sell it at the optimum time frame if you wanted to do that. What we're going to do is run down there and sell this now. So there's different ways you could approach it. On this particular map, you might want to do, if you're playing by yourself, I'd probably do forestry when this was at its lowest, and turn those in and maybe buy a wood mill or whatever, get that rolling. And then those peak months, toward the winter when this is at the optimum price, I might do peat instead of forestry if you could get to it, if it wasn't covered in snow and you could still do it. So let's run this down there. We're going to see how much we get. Okay, we're up here at the dump site for Sunshine Forest. I think this thing dumps on the left. So I'm going to pull up here and unload and see how much we get for about this thing being 72% full. And the money's rolling there. We are on the easy mode, so we'll see what we get on the easy mode. Okay, that was $15,756. So not too bad, not too bad. So that was for 72% full. So you can prorate that up, and you're going to get more. At least another 25% if you're on the if the container is full. So that's not bad. That's bad. So peat is something you can do. It's different than what we've done in Farming Simulator 25. If you want to give it a try, this is a great map, Sunshine Forest. There's another map too that has it. And that's it. I'm Farmer Teacher. I had some questions on this, so I just wanted to get it out there. How do you do peat on Farming Simulator 25? So that's it. Give us a thumbs up. Share this with your farming buddies, and I'll see you on the next go-round. Bye-bye.